For today's video, we will be discussing about Rawls' theory of justice.
Jhon holds an adequate account of justice, which cannot be derived from utilitarianism, because that doctrine is consistent with intuitively undesirable forms of government in which the greater happiness of a majority is achieved by the neglecting the rights and interests of a minority. Reviving the notion of a social contract, Rawls argues that justice consists of the basic principles of government that free and rational individuals would agree in a hypothetical situation of perfect equality. For example, rules that prevent smoking in residence rooms are enforced without exception as dictated by the principles of justice, thereby restricting individual autonomy. Therefore, justice demands that one's right to exercise, whereas the autonomy is limited when it affects the safety and well-being of another persons in terms of smoking.
In order to ensure that the principles chosen are fair, Rawls images a group of individuals who have been made ignorant of the social, economic, and historical circumstances from which they come, as well as their basic values and goals, including their conception of what constitutes a good life. Situated behind this veil of ignorance, they could not be influenced by self-interest desire to benefit some social group, the group they belong to, at the expense of others, those they could not know any facts about their race, sex, age, religion, social or economic class, wealth, income, intelligence, abilities, talent, and so on.
Rawls defines and develops the principle of justice throughout this book. Rawls makes his final clarification on the two principles of justice. Number 1. Each person is to have an equal right to the most extensive total system of equal basic liberties compatible with a similar system of liberty for all. Number 2. Social and economic equalities are to be arranged so that they are both to the greatest benefit of the less advantaged, consistent with the just savings principle and attached to the offices and positions open to all under conditions of fair equality of opportunity. The first principle is called the greatest equal liberty. Part A of the second principle is referred to as difference principle, with Part B is referred to as equal opportunity principle. Rawls order the principle of justice lexically as follows: 1, 2b, and 2a. The greatest equal liberty principle takes priority, followed by the equal opportunity principle, and finally the difference principle.
The first principle must be satisfied before 2b, and also must be satisfied before 2a. As Rawls states, a principle does not come into play until those previous to it are either fully met or does not apply therefore. The equal basic liberties protected in the first principle cannot be treated or satisfied for greater social granted by 2b or greater economic advantage granted by 2a. The greatest equal liberty principle: each person is to have an equal right to be the most intensive total system of equal basic liberties compatible with a similar system of liberty for all.
The greatest equal liberty principle is mainly concerned with the distribution of rights and liberties. Rawls identifies the following equal basic liberties: political liberty, the right to vote and hold public office, and freedom of speech and assembly; liberty of conscience and freedom of thought, freedom of the person, which includes from psychological oppression and physical assault and dismemberment; integrity of the person, the right to hold personal property, and freedom from arbitrary arrest and seizures as defined by the concept of the rule of law.
It is a matter of some debate whether freedom of contract can be inferred to be included among these basic liberties. Liberties not on the list, for example, the right to own certain kinds of property and freedom of contract as understood by the doctrine of laissez-faire, are not basic, and so they are not protected by the priority of the first principle. Rawls ranked his principles of social justice in the order of their priority. The first principle, which is the basic liberties, holds priority over the second principle. The first part of the second principle, which is the fair equality of opportunity, holds priority over the second part. But he believed that both the first and second principles together are necessary for a just society.